Welcome back to Slide Scholar. Vyond, formerly known as GoAnimate, has been known for being one of the most toxic communities online, with users exposed for predatory behavior or simply not handling criticism from peers. But one piece of drama centered on a certain user lasted for 3.5 years, in fact, ending 1 month ago today. The topic is GoAnimate, the Rick controversy. Part 1. Who is Rick? Rick, aka Solace Animates, is one of the most hated users in the history of GoAnimate, and his actions have caused significant changes in the community for a variety of reasons. But what exactly made him so hated? This documentary will reveal the truth. Just to be safe, I'll explain it in chronological order, so you'll easily understand why he remains so hated to this day. This is also part 1, focusing on events from 2022 to 2024. Let's begin now. May 2022. On the 7th of May 2022, Bryce would create his very first YouTube channel, naming it Bryce the Younger Guy 2K5. He would begin creating GoAnimate content and gained many subscribers. A while later, he changed his name to Bryce the HP Guy. August/September 2022. Sometime in August 2022, Bryce the HP Guy would get into conflict with a user known as VoltaTorch. Bryce would announce that his friends found out he'd GoAnimate and called him cringe for it. As a result, it led him to develop suicidal thoughts and take a brief hiatus. However, VoltaTorch would make a video on him, criticizing Bryce for having suicidal thoughts. On the 31st of August 2022, Bryce made a video titled a response to Voltorch's latest video, in which he claimed that Voltorch had been cyberbullying him. And at the end of the video, he became very upset about how the community had deteriorated. On the 9th of September 2022, the two would get into an exchange in a private Discord server, with Bryce secretly recording it to expose Voltorch's toxic behavior. This was because Bryce defended a despised user known as Operator. November 2022. On the 5th of November 2022, Bryce's account was hacked by an unknown user, causing him to lose everything he had worked so hard to build. As a result, he created a new account under the name BryceAnimates2K5 and uploaded a video explaining everything and trying to put the situation under control. A day after the hack, a new GoAnimator would join the platform. Their name was RickAnimates2K7. July 2023. On the 6th of July 2023, a user known as Drew the Animation Guy 2003 would join the platform. He will remain inactive until late August 2023. August 2023. Sometime in August, Rick got into an argument with another user named Franco Martinez. Rick posted to the community that Franco had criticized a video he made. 5 days later, Rick made a video explaining the history of the argument from his perspective and why Franco was wrong. Less than 24 hours later, Rick posted that Franco would not end the argument. As the turmoil escalated, Rick continued to ignore the advice of his fans and always played the victim, especially when arguing with haters. A week after the argument began, Drew the Animation Guy 2003 would upload a video analyzing the situation, ultimately declaring that Rick Animates 2K7 was the worst of the two. Franco Martinez apologized for starting the turmoil, but Rick would not let it go and continued to criticize him. However, when Rick Animates 2K7 denied the apology, Franco threatened to report him to YouTube. Nevertheless, Franco admitted his mistake. Shortly after the end of Rick and Franco's feud, Rick would continue to lash out at viewers and argue with haters. He couldn't stand it any longer and announced he was abandoning his channel. Drew the Animation Guy 2003 then made another video addressing the situation. He criticized Rick Animates 2K7 for not only being childish, but also making people feel guilty and not acting his age. Rick Animates 2K7 would upload a final video in which he jumps off a high-rise building and dies on the spot, ending it all. Many people felt that this was very disrespectful to people with suicidal thoughts and that he was mocking them. After a few viewers tried to convince him to return, he made another community post refusing to do so. Drew again criticized him for not realizing that viewers sympathized with him. Rick Animates 2K7 then made another video announcing his hiatus, much to the dismay of his subscribers. People connected the dots and assumed that Drew was the cause of all this and began to heavily criticize the user as a bully. October 2023. As the backlash against Drew escalated, Drew posted another video criticizing Rick's fans for attacking him. He insisted that he was right and that people who didn't listen to him were stupid. Drew wouldn't leave Rick alone until he had had enough. Finally, in a fit of anger, he ordered everyone to unsubscribe from Rick's channel. November/December 2023. After a 3.5-month hiatus, Rick Animates 2K7 returned to YouTube to announce a new look for the new year 2024. However, he quickly received backlash, this time from a user named Racenique, who accused him of plagiarism. Incidentally, Rick made a video called Julie's Support as part of his Jay's Adventures series, in which his character Julie revealed the terrible treatment she received from her father and why she is so mean to everyone. This was very similar to another video called Samantha's Support, made by a user named AnimationSensation02. Rick, who had to change his name to Sakurima07, explained that he was inspired by this video, credited AS02, and posted it to the community, denying the allegations. Drew then returned in December and made a video denying everything Rick said in the community post. January 2024. The year 2024 has begun. 2023 was a terrible year for the GoAnimate community, and everyone hoped the new year would be a little better. However, their wishes were not granted. Around the 8th of January, it was discovered that Courier07, formerly known as RickAnimates2K7, has sent death threats to a user named EdgarMorris99. What happened was that Rick was once again under fire for making a video in response to Reddit Week Night's video titled Joe Divorces Catherine. Rather than dealing with the backlash, Rick continued to defend himself until Ellie wrote a lengthy community post criticizing Rick's actions and for encouraging fans to attack Drew. Shortly after the post, Rick wrote KYS, abbreviation for Kill Yourself, multiple times in the comments section. As soon as left his heartless message, he was blamed from all sides for his actions and told they would never recover. On the 11th of January, a community post popped up in Rick's tab. It read, "Hey everyone, this is Rick's parents. I am deeply saddened to announce that Rick has passed away. He was the best son we could ask for. We found him on the floor, bleeding from a gunshot wound to the head. He had committed suicide. He was honestly the best son ever, and we're very sad to find out he did this. Out of respect, we'll be privating all of his videos in a few hours from now. Thank you all for being there for him through hard times." Unfortunately, no one would fall for it, and he was subdued to intense criticism. Then, on the 24th of January, Rick uploaded a video that was far worse than anyone could have imagined. For context, in October 2023, it was announced that Davey Boy, another popular GoAnimator, had died after an unknown accident. Many users sent their condolences. However, Rick didn't think so, and accused Davey of faking it. As a result, many who were fans of Davey Boy felt disrespected and disappointed. At the end of the video, Rick threatened to say racist remarks in front of the camera and threatened those who criticized him to kill themselves. Later that same month, he made another apology video for everything he had done, but as expected, no one forgave him. February 2024. Okay, I want to give a bit of a warning here. The events I'm about to describe are extremely extreme and far worse than what came before. What I am about to describe is a laughing matter. Viewers, please be forewarned. Around the 1st of February 2024, another user known as MS formerly Viola, was receiving a lot of backlash and criticism for inducing 6 users on her Discord server to have suicidal thoughts. One person who stood out in particular was Peacefulgamer757. She apologized for her actions in a community post, but the comments were mostly mixed, with some forgiving her and a majority denying her apology. 2 days later, she made a 27-minute short film in which she tried to apologize one last time for her actions and behavior. And ultimately, more than half of the most people who denied it decided to forgive her. Two hours later, Zachromia07 would post a video titled, "Okay, I've had it," and said the most heartless and offensive things a GoAnimator would say. Normally, I would say what he said exactly word for word. But because it's so inappropriate, in fact so inappropriate I can't say on YouTube, I'll summarize what he said in 5 points. 1. He was sexist in saying that people will be more forgiving of Viola because she's a girl in real life, where in reality, it was because she's more remorseful than him. 2. He sent death threats to GoAnimation Guy 2003 and called him homophobic slang. 3. He threatened to cut off someone's genitals. 4. He made very racist comments about black people and billed himself to be a white supremacist. And 5th and finally, he sent death threats to black people. At this point, Rick had gone too far. 48 hours after the video was published, Rick's channel would be removed from the platform. Many would assume YouTube had terminated it. March 2024. It has been 3 weeks since Rick disappeared from YouTube. Many were happy that his presence was finally gone and they couldn't stand it anymore. Unfortunately, that joy was shattered. On the 2nd of March 2024, Rick would create another account called Zachromia07 Reborn and uploaded a video titled "I'm Back." In that video, he would explain that his parents found out what he was doing on the internet and forced him to delete his channel. Shortly after the channel was deleted, he was banned for 2 weeks, which was the reason for his absence online. After that, he pleaded with everyone to give him another chance, but people denied it, saying that what he caused was irreparable and unforgivable. He also revealed that the Albany police arrived at his home. He was arrested, and he was about to be tried in adult court, supposedly because of the horror video he made. A week later, the 9th of March, he posted another video titled "Quick Update," appealing that if people hate him, they should gently. However, this video too was met with a storm of negativity and criticism. April 2024. On the 6th of April 2024, Rick returned with a new video. However, it was one that slammed Bryce Anime's 2K5. He claimed that Bryce was a bad person. Most of the reasons, such as not handling criticism, happened in 2022, and calling him a shitty human being were also reasons. A week later, a toxic conversation between Zachroma07 and Bryce Anime's 2K5 in Discord chat would transpire, and Bryce uploaded the incident on video titled "Zachroma07 said some horrible things to me." TechnoGlitch drama. On the 24th of April, another controversy would begin, centered on a user named TechnoGlitch, formerly known as Anime Sensation 02. A user named Vino Wizard made a community post accusing TechnoGlitch of pedophilia. It all started when Techno posted a video called "Sage's and Abigail's Magic Night" in 2022. The video depicted Sage, who turned 18 on his birthday, and Abigail, 17, engaging in sexual activity. However, the problem was that even though the age of sexual consent in Massachusetts, where the show is set, is 16 years old or older, Vino claimed that sexual consent with minors is strictly prohibited. Everyone was shocked by this claim and began to condemn TechnoGlitch's actions. Bryce Anime's 2K5, seeing what was happening, made a community post defending Techno, claiming that Felino had no evidence and that they were spreading false accusations. Felino posted again to those who didn't believe it, but Bryce didn't listen. The day after the accusations, TechnoGlitch himself posted one last post in the community to try and clear his name, but people continued to criticize him. Then, around 7:35 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, he disappeared from the internet and deleted his channel. His fans were outraged but couldn't do anything about it. But Bryce Animates UK5 took things to an extreme and sent death threats to Bruno Wizard. Soon after, his actions were heavily criticized. Drew the Animation Guy 2003 would make a video on criticizing him, saying that he was done and should never come back. Bryce posted 3 times in the community in response to the criticism. The first time, he was laughing at everyone. The second time, he posted in full caps, "Leave me alone, I don't deserve this," about 23 times. The third time, he announced that he would make a video in response to the backlash. The video was released an hour later, and Bryce claimed that they did not regret his decision, and that the treatment he was getting was unfair. However, the criticism did not subside and continued. About a day later, Bryce went live at around 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time and said that he admitted all his mistakes and took full responsibility for his actions. He created a Google slideshow mentioning all his mistakes and made it available to everyone. He also said that during a live stream, he would respond to videos people had posted about him. However, the chat was flooded with resulting comments such as "Epson Animus UK5" and "Unseasoned Chicken." And with more than 100 people watching the live stream, Bryce exploded on screen, slammed the desk, and shouted, "I fucking can't, man! Fuck!" Ending the stream. Unbeknownst to him, the infuriated scene of his rage was he posted online and turned to a meme mocking him. Drew the Animation Guy 2003 will upload a following video where he would call him childish. On the 29th of April 2024, Bryce will bottle up his courage and will finally tell the truth to put the whole thing to rest. In a live stream, he revealed that he was the one behind the Chroma07 account. He also revealed his true identity, Rick, his age, 17, and location, New York. Everyone was shocked, but also saddened that they had been deceived for nearly 2 years and finally had enough. May 2024. On the 2nd of May, Rick announced that he will change his name to Red-Time Battalion, and that it will be a gaming and reaction channel. However, he still faced the same criticism for his previous actions. After being criticized for his actions, Rick closed his channel on the 4th of May. The Sakura 07 Reborn account was also deleted. When the news spread, people rejoiced that Rick was finally leaving out of a lesson. But 8 days later, Rick returned with a new account called Red-Time Battalion Reborn, apologizing again and claiming he wanted to make a fresh start. But no one forgave him. 2 hours later, the channel was already deleted. Age Rapper 1003 drama. On the 27th of May, a user known as Age Rapper 1003 will be exposed for child pornography. He had uploaded a video titled "Johnny and Nessie Get Kidnapped," in which Dixie, 8 years old, is by kidnapper, 40 years old, and in the Adriana movie, Adriana, 17 years old, is by kidnappers. Angel fans criticized Fina Wizard and Drew for interfering in his business, but the two say that is simply gonna cover it up. Drew then released a video criticizing those defending Angel for not seeing the truth, and gave Angel a week to respond to the allegations. Angel continued to deny the allegations, explaining that his videos are not for a younger audience, and that they don't like it, they don't have to watch it. Age at 1003, fed up with the turmoil that was coming his way, released a video announcing his retirement due to bad behavior within the GoAnimate community. Surprisingly, 2 hours later, he came back and abandoned the channel, declaring that he was going to make a gaming channel. But that didn't help matters, and he branded the channel to a music-based genre. At the present day, he renamed his channel to Air 1003, where he announced in a community post that he will be making an adult series based on South Park, but will try to go overboard. However, a couple months later, he'll delete the channel for unknown reasons, presumably because of the backlash he received once more, despite standing his ground, continuing to make videos. June 2024. Three weeks after Rick disappeared, an An account called Retirement was created on the 2nd of June, but wrote something in the community tab that was way off the mark. It called for the entire GoAnimate community to be crucified. This is a disrespect to the crucifixion of Jesus in the Bible, something that should never be said. However, since the name of this account was the same as the account name Rick had before he closed it, they speculated that Rick was trying to get himself into even more trouble. Shortly after, the account made another community post about Kira Llewellyn, a narcissistic and aged user, having died in an accident. From there, accusations erupted that Kayla was behind the account and was trying to make things even worse for Rick. Drew, the animation guy in 2003, would make a video denying this claim. A few days later, it was revealed that behind the account was another malicious user named Jamie the Disney Channel and Cartoon Network Fan 19, who was getting revenge on those who turned on him in May of that year. July 2024. On the 3rd of July 2024, a notorious user known as TimoShine100, now known as IsPeterYT, was exposed for having saved the phone number of a 16-year-old minor known as Life in his phone, and leaking his personal information after receiving a call from the latter. Tim denied this and claimed that Fino Wizard had published his details on the Discord server in retaliation for his malicious actions. Not everyone listens to what Tim has to say, and Drew the Animation Guy in 2003 was no exception. He replied to a comment left by Tim saying, "Get lost," and Tim told him in reply to close the channel. Drew then shared screenshots of the conversation to his community tab, criticizing Tim. But Tim flat denied it by replying to all the comments who were agreeing with Drew. This forced him to make a video titled TimoShine100 is in for a rude awakening, in which he criticized Tim for having no common sense. And as always, Tim replied to all the comments of those against him, defending himself, along with supporters of his. A few hours later, Drew posted a video announcing his hiatus and then departure from the community on the 30th of July. However, his comment section was flooded with people celebrating his departure and people accusing him of user bullying. As a result, he posted another video criticizing the comments criticizing him. From there, people began to assume he was Rick in disguise. on the 14th of July, Europa Life was embroiled in controversy again. SP Star Yellow Animator 03 was exposed a while back for saving an inappropriate livestream for over 2 years. And just then, Europa Life was exposed for saying death threats to them. They defended Opal, saying pedophiles deserve to die, while opponents argue that death threats make things worse. Drew threatened to make a video saying he could no longer trust Europa Life and Go26 after they said they had legitimate reasons. From there, the focus of the controversy shifted to Drew, not Opal. Drew finally lost his temper and sent death threats to TechnoGlitch, Adrian Gemstone, who was exposed for sharing child pornography, and Indra 4003. After this incident, he was heavily criticized for his involvement in the incident. Drew the Animation Guy 2003 posted one last video, announcing that he was leaving the channel for good, and finally, he closed the account. However, it was soon revealed that he had made the channel private, briefly returning 6 days later, 10th of July, to post an apology video, which everyone naturally denied.